There's greatness in you. And you mean to tell me you're never gonna reach your full potential because you are afraid? Listen to me, the boogeyman ain't real.
What are we gonna forgive right now? And what are we gonna say, the buck stops here, no more, I'm not putting up with it? Because I'm tired of playing grab with yourself. Cut the man.
If it's going to happen, you're going to have to eliminate excuses.
Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you, if you let them.
No matter what you gain, ego will not let you rest. It will tell you that you cannot stop until you've left an indelible mark on the earth, until you've achieved immortality.
And there's an unbelievably hopeful message in there. And the message is, you're actually strong enough to do that, you just don't know it. And you won't find out till you do it. You can't find out till you do it. But if you did it, you'd find out that it was true.
I want you to live the life you were meant to live, not the life that was given to you.
Because you're sad, now you're gonna make a bunch of bad decisions because you're sad? No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You're sad, okay, got it. Now, get control of your emotions and carry on with your life.
It doesn't matter how broken, how weary and devastated you are right now. That pain will not last forever. At some point, it will subside. And when it does, discipline, resilience, fire, passion, power will take its place.
This is your life, my friend, so you stand up. This is your life, my friend, so you rise up. This is your life, my friend, so you keep going. This is your life, my friend, so you never give up.
The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you.
Your motto for 2024 is I will give more.
You made it! You went through all of the struggles, all of the challenges, but you made it. And here you are.
At some point, it's going to be too late. At some point, things you really want are going to be out of reach. But you're not at that point yet. There's plenty of time left, but only if you want it.
The truth is that you can defeat whatever it is that's stressing you out. You just have to stop focusing on what has already happened and start making things happen. It's time for you to be all in.
So, are you ready for more in 2024? Are you ready to show the world that you've only just got started, that the best is yet to come?
It is possible to accomplish what you see in your head. It is possible. The question is, can you give your all?
This is not the time to quit. This is not the time to go back down memory lane. You got to see your life directly in front of you. You got to trust in yourself and believe that if you made it this year, you can keep going a little bit further.
Don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time will never come. You have to start now.
Be all in, or be somebody that leaves this earth with regrets.
If you're truly going to be all in, there are some things that you must be willing to let go of.
This is the year I give it everything I have. This is the year I stop complaining about the past. This is the year that I don't make excuses. And if I see it in my head, I can hold it in my hand.
Put the pedal to the metal, all gas, no brakes. That's your motto. That's your slogan. That's the way you live your life.
But as long as you go in with a positive mindset and a strong will, all things are possible.
Be all in or be forgotten.
This is my year that I give everything I have.
Be productive, be strong, and from the bottom of my heart, 2024, conduct your business.
This is the year that I make an investment in myself. This is the year. This is not the year that I play around with my life. This is not the year that I sit and wait for destiny to hunt me down. I will hunt everything down that belongs to me.
You made it. You're here. The work needs to be done. Now you have to go a little bit further.
You say you want more, but are you willing to make the sacrifices required for you to get access to more? You have to have a laser focus. You have to have a no matter what attitude. You have to be willing to get up every single time you fall.
This is the year where you decide to think greater than you feel. You decide to get better than you've ever been before.
You have to start now. You're in control of your own destiny. You can be whoever you want to be. You can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. This just showing up stuff isn't going to cut it. You have to be all in.
It is possible to fully commit yourself to something. It is possible to accomplish what you see in your hand, to hold it in your hand. It is possible. The question is, can you give your all?
Don't be afraid of failure, because this is the only way to succeed. I need you to embrace the setbacks. I need you to embrace the failures. I need you to embrace the adversity, because that's what's gonna make you.
Last year, you had some setbacks. You can't dwell on it. You can't hold on to it anymore. You got to focus on right now. And you must endure. And you must push. And you must fight. And you must believe that you got what you need inside of yourself.
If you are not giving your all, are you willing to confront you? Are you willing to go hard when it looks like you aren't making any progress?
Is that what you want? To live an average life? I know you don't. So do something about it.
This is your moment to decide. Will you continue on living the life that you have lived? Or will you unlock your greatest potential?
More pain is coming. But that doesn't mean that it's over. It only means that you have to continue down that path, that journey, that year, that moment. So many individuals are gonna have to face the reality that we are all going through some significant challenges throughout our lives. But you're here.
A great life, it doesn't happen by chance, it happens by design. And the best way to design that is to just get started.
Pick yourself up and go give everything that you got, so the day can come that you have everything that you want. Don't tell me what you gonna do. Tell me you got it done. Step into your greatness.
You've got to be committed to yourself, because self-commitment is one of the most important commitments you can make. Let this be the year that you keep every commitment that you make to yourself.
Make this the year where you decide to just get better, to just get on with it.
I will give more. 2024, give more. Go all in. Be all in.
Today and every day for the rest of your life. There's no more mediocre. There's no more mid. There's no more average.
It's right before your eyes. This is the place where your hunger for change changes everything. But I am committed, willing to sacrifice everything to fulfill my destiny.
2024 is knocking on your door. All you gotta do is be prepared with the right mindset.
Be all in, or be somebody that leaves this earth with regrets.
There is a future that I desire. I believe in the power of my future. And as much as life has tried to amputate my spirit, I refuse to go down. I refuse to stop here. I refuse to let go. I refuse to give in. I refuse to keep living at 50%.
But the future is unknown. But if you prepare for it, if you're ready for it. Whatever the situations that may come your way, whatever circumstances that you must face.
Well, yeah, you have to deal with some bumps in the road. Yeah, you have to deal with a little bit of stress and strife. But it's worth it. But it's worth it. How bad do you want it?
You are inches away from the best life that you have ever had. I'm giving it everything I had. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Give everything you got within yourself. Give all or give nothing.
Sun don't stop for nobody, man. That sun is gonna be up in the morning regardless of how I feel. The sun is gonna shine in the morning, and at nighttime the moon gonna be there. And you're gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up and you done wasted a year doing what?
I want you to live the life you were meant to live. Not the life that was given to you. Because I made up in my mind, that's the life y'all gave me. I'm not taking that no more.
A lot of life is uncomfortable. A lot of this experience is not easy. It's not, I don't care who you are, it's not easy waking up first thing in the morning. You don't always want to get up out of bed. You're signing up to have some moments where it's really uncomfortable and painful.
What are we going to forgive right now? And what are we going to say, the buck stops here, no more, I'm not putting up with it. Because I'm tired of playing grab with yourself. McConaughy, cut the man.
Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, you're going to launch yourself out of bed like a rocket ship. You're going to move so fast, you're not going to be in that bed when that anxiety hits.
If I'm going to seek success, I've got to define what sacrifices are required in order to step into it.
And the gateway for all of us to blow up. You can't start where I am now. You got to start where I started.
I know it's painful every time you got to make a sacrifice, but I'm telling you, the pain of success is better than the pain of failure. And now is the time for you to make a decision on what pain you want.
I'm not content because I know where I came from and I don't ever want to go back. That means I don't want to go back to living like I once was.
The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams, that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft.
Decide that you're going to push yourself. There's greatness in you. And you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. And since I'm going to do this, I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop me.
That's what I'm asking you to do. What fuels you? The reason why you're so lazy is not because you don't have the ability. You're so lazy because your dream's so small.
Failure is painful. Failure is painful. I know it's painful to wake up early in the morning when you really want to sleep. I know it's painful when you got to study when everybody else is outside playing.
In what world do we not work every day?
Working hard is the cost of entry of winning.
90% is work, but the last 10%, that's fight. Can we make that happen? Can we make that happen? Can we make that happen? I'm talking about beast mode.
Dude, you've been a repeat offender. It hadn't been paying you back. You've been regretting that choice every time you make it, and you keep frickin' making it. Cut, man. Evolve. Turn the page. No more.
I profoundly believe that you are one decision away from a different life. We make the mistake of believing that because our problems are big or because our dreams are so big, that somehow the solution to achieving those dreams or to solving those problems must be enormous too, when in truth it's the opposite.
Here's what people do. They're unhappy, you're not where you're at, so you put your time into dumb shit like 2K and Netflix and Fortnite because you're escaping your real life. Your time's not worth anything when you're unhappy. So put it into making yourself happy, which is the fucking work to get you to where you want.
Most of us have been conditioned not to take a risk. People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? And I always tell them it's really simple. One word, progress. Progress equals happiness. If you keep growing, you're gonna feel alive. And if you keep growing, you're gonna have more to give. And when you're growing and giving is when life is magnificent. It doesn't matter how many statues, Oscars they give you, or Emmys, or how much money you have in the bank. Everybody's focusing on the outside world, and how there's a lot of things in the outside world you'll never be able to control. You can influence, but you can't control it. This, your mind, your emotions, your body, you have 100% control over what you do with these things, and that's where the game is won. You win the inner game, then you win the outer game. But a lot of people spent their life trying to win the outer game, they won, and they're miserable.
I know you've been waiting for everything to line up perfectly, and you've been waiting for the right teachers, and you've been waiting for the right school, you've been waiting for the right time. No, you're not waiting for the perfect time, you're making it the perfect time. Now is the time for you to say, I'm ready. I'm ready to take the next step. What you gonna do now that you've heard all the information? I want you to take that now, and I want you to make that some fuel, yeah. Now it's time for you to get fueled up. I want you to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want you to get sick and tired of being average. I want you to get so mad. I need you to get fueled up. I need you to get fired up.
Like, I want you to understand, like, I don't know your story. I don't know the depths of what some of you have had to deal with. But I'm here to tell you, man, you can do hard things. And as long as there's breath in your lungs, there's hope in your heart too. And as long as you continue to understand that no feeling is final. Today, life may suck for some of you. Today, life may be amazing for some of you. But what I do know is there are mountains and there are valleys. And to realize I can only control what I can control. I can control how I treat people. I can control the things that I do with my energy and my time. And I'm going to continue to refuse to believe that I can't.
What's your book look like? What does your fucking book look like? Like your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was your book? What was the ending to your book? If the ending to my book can be so amazing because of all that was done, not the money, all that was accomplished, the first to do, the man that did this, he caused the merger between this. Because of his commitment and growth to this, the communities were then given this. All of the things that can be associated with you and your existence become a part of the chapters in your book. So my drive is about my book.
You have to understand, if you don't execute on the plan, if you don't get up in the morning when you're feeling tired, scared, if you don't execute, you're not just cheating yourself. You're cheating your family. You're cheating your employees. You're cheating your team. Whatever you're a part of, it's bigger than you, man.
Hard work works, y'all. See, some of you have dreams and goals, but hard work, you can't get around it. I wish there was a magic wand that I could wave that your passion, your dream, that thing you want to achieve, it could just happen, but it can't. Hard work is required.
What do you do when 1,000 other people want exactly what you want? What if you're not the only one that wants what you want? What if there are thousands of other people who want what you want? You have to outwork them. You gotta outgrind them. You gotta get up earlier. You gotta stay up later. You gotta execute, and you gotta go from 7 to 120.
I think a lot of people feel this enormous pressure to achieve this millionaire, billionaire status somewhere in your 20s, 30s, 40s. It is very difficult. It is for very few and far between. I hope everybody understands, if you put in 18 hours a day, every day of your life, and you suck shit, you lost. You know why I'm sitting here right now? Because I outworked you. Zoom in, I outworked you.
Before I ever stood on a stage, I cleaned one at an old Baptist church. When everybody left, I stayed vacuuming when nobody was there. That's how I got the microphone. I didn't get a microphone because I can talk the best. I didn't get a microphone because I can sing the best. I got a microphone because serving kept elevating me everywhere of my life. Because we all think that if we pray on it, if we do this, if we do that, whatever, we don't work,
whatever, it's gonna magically happen for us. No, I believe that when I'm all said and done with, my whole job is to outwork the chart.
Gotta keep putting in the work every day. 1 is better than 0. Gotta keep putting in the work, putting in the work, putting in the work. The hard work matters, and the patience is what overrides it.
You gotta work. What happens if you wake up 30 days later and you there? What happens if you wake up 60 days later and the change is coming? You know what's gonna happen? You're gonna wake up 60 days later, 90 days later, and everything's gonna change but you. And you're gonna get the same results you got before it happened because you're the exact same person. So work while you wait. You cannot stop.
We all have greatness. You gotta find the courage. You gotta find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. And to find it because it's out there, but it's gonna take hard work, courage, self-discipline. It's gonna take all the non-cognitive skills. All the non-cognitive skills to be great. You know, smart is good, all this stuff is good, that's all cognitive. It's the non-cognitive skills that set you apart from everybody else. And that's what it's all about.
Now, I don't know what your goal is, but I want you to visualize it right now and repeat after me with power and conviction. Let us say together, it's possible. Together, please. Say it again, please. See, that's the first step. I want you to think about this goal that you want. I want you to envision it and see it in your mind's eye. And every day, say to yourself that it's possible. See, most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential, not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, but most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have.
Listen to me very clearly. Every A is not an A. I don't care how much you can jump on Google and get the answer and get your report card or your grade sheet or your teachers or your school to think that you're getting the A. If you're cutting corners, if you're taking shortcuts, every A is not an A. You're not robbing anybody else but you.
So I need you to work while you wait. I need you to work on your focus, perspective. I need you to see difficult differently. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? I need you to see it differently.
You know, 5 steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. You read my book, this is hard work. It's every day.
There's so many people who want to lead that can't follow. I'm saying this because everybody wants to get to the top. If you're trying to get on top, I need you to work the level you're on right now. Can you clean bathrooms? Can you sing for the kids? Maybe singing for the kids might be the thing that gets the whole world knowing your name. But because you think it's small and insignificant, you won't even do it.
Just keep working. If you were told you were gonna get that promotion, just keep working. If you were told you was gonna win that championship, just keep working. Nobody said it would be easy. Again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So I need you to work on your faith. I need you to work on your faith. I need you to wake up every day and say, today ain't the day, but my day coming. And I will not give up, and I will not give in until I get to that day. I will not stop. I will not give up. I will not give in until my day comes.
You have enough right now to flip this world upside down. You have enough. You got enough power. You got enough anointing. You got enough grace. You got enough patience. You got enough gifting to make your money, get out of debt, get yourself together, and change everything about your world.
For the things that I'm wanting and believing, I just have to do everything possible that's within my power. And there's some things that aren't within my power, and that's where I trust God. But what isn't within my power, it's whether it's getting the proper sleep, whether it's learning your lines, whether it's researching the character, whether it's working out or eating healthy, or whatever it is that you need that's gonna make you better at what you wanna do. It's doing every single bit of that you can possibly do, and going above, not just doing just enough to get by, but going above. And then after that, it's like, if it's supposed to happen, it will happen. And chances are, if you do the work, it likely will happen.
It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? You have to make those insecurities, those fears. Like when I was 300 pounds, I didn't have any drive. I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. What kind of stupid is that, 300 pounds? There wasn't like a drive to go be a Navy SEAL. I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look at my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities, all that it's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. And that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you become very unstoppable.
I need you to work on yourself. Are you hearing me? Look, you can't change what you can't change. Stop trying to change the situation. It's not yours to change. Stop trying to change your wife. Stop trying to change your husband. Stop trying to change your kids. Stop trying to change your boss. Stop trying to change the program. If you could change it, it would be changed. There's only one person you can change, baby, and that person is you. Work on yourself.
How can we make sure that we have great morning routines to support us so that we don't have brain fog at all in the morning or later in the afternoon?
I'll describe it as my routine. I generally get up somewhere between 5:30 and 7 in the morning, depending on when I went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super regular about when I go to sleep, but generally that's between 10:30 and midnight.
Yep.
I try and avoid that midnight hour, but happens. So I get up. Obviously, I use the restroom. I drink some water. I do think that hydrating is very important.
Yes.
So I'll drink some water, and then the fundamental layer of health is to set your circadian rhythm. The simplest way to do that is to go outside for 10 minutes and get some bright light in your eyes. People always ask, what if you wake up before the sun rises? Well, simple rule, if you want to be awake, turn on as many bright lights in your house as possible, but then when the sun comes out, get outside and see some sunlight. You do not have to look directly into the sun, but you do want to get outside out of shade cover if you can. Don't wear sunglasses if you can do that safely. Don't try and do this through a window. Don't try and negotiate with me on this point. People
Go
are like,
outside.
what about a window? Well, the filtration of the important wavelengths of light through the window is just too high, and so it would take hours for you to set your circadian clock that way. You want to do this because once every 24 hours, you're going to get a peak in cortisol, which is a healthy peak. You want that peak to happen early in the day because it sets up alertness for the remainder of the day. I would say this is the fundamental step of any good morning. And if you don't do this enough, you are messing yourself up in a number of ways. After waking up to get bright light in your eyes, you are setting yourself up for a complicated sleep-wake cycle that leads to a lot of what we call insomnia. When we talk about all these things like the gut and the skin, etc., it's tempting to say, oh, it's sunlight on the skin. No, it's actually only can be signaled through the eyes because the clock lives deep in the brain, that master clock, and you need the signal to get to that master clock. Every cell in your body has a 24-hour clock. All those clocks need to be aligned to the same time. So imagine a clock shop with lots of different clocks, and you don't want them alarming off at different times. This sunlight viewing or bright light viewing early in the day, I would say within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up for about 10 minutes, or if it's very cloudy, maybe 30 minutes or so, that activates a particular type of neuron in the eye called the intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cell. If people want to look that up, signals to the circadian clock, which is right above the roof of your mouth, but that is the master circadian clock that then releases a bunch of signals into your body. This all happens very fast, and every cell in your body gets tuned to the exact same time reference point so that your system can work as a nice concert of cells as opposed to out of whack. There are a lot of sources of brain fog. The most obvious one would be a poor night's sleep.
Okay.
And sleep, of course, being the most fundamental layer of mental and physical health. You don't sleep well for one night, you're probably okay. For 2 nights, you start to fall apart. 3-4 nights, you're really a degraded version of yourself in every aspect. Emotionality is off, ability to do most anything is off, hormones start suffering. So sleep is fundamental. But assuming that you slept well, there are a number of things. One is your breathing patterns. We often get into discussions of breathing, but this is a slightly different one than we've had in the past. A lot of people have sleep apnea. They are not getting enough oxygen during their sleep, or they are mouth breathing during sleep. These days, it's become popular in some circles to take a little bit of medical tape and tape the mouth shut, and to learn to be a nasal breather. And there is excellent evidence now that being a nasal breather most of the time, as long as you're not speaking or eating or exercising hard enough that you would need to breathe through your mouth, that it's beneficial to be a nasal breather. So you wake up in the morning, you slept your normal 6 to 8 hours, but you're feeling kind of groggy and out of it. And of course, there could be other reasons that you're experiencing brain fog. Maybe, for people that drink alcohol the night before, maybe they had alcohol. For people that maybe they ate a meal that was too large before sleep, maybe any number of reasons, right?
Gotcha.
But getting adequate oxygenation of the brain during sleep is key. So learn to be a nasal breather. And for those of you out there that say, well, I have a deviated septum, a lot of people think they have deviated septums. The problem is they're not nasal breathing enough. The sinuses actually can learn to dilate if you nasal breathe. Exercising while nasal breathing, it will kind of depend on the sport. Like if you box, oftentimes there's the need to do a shh, or, kind of like exhale on impact type thing. So I don't think anyone should tamper with their normal breathing patterns as it relates to sport or singing or some, activity. But what I'm talking about is when you're just standing around, when you're walking down the street, any low-level activity, you're working at your desk, you should be nasal breathing and breathing regularly. There are really nice studies done by my colleagues in Stanford Psychiatry and Biology Department showing that if that cortisol peak starts to drift too late in the day, you start seeing signs of depression. It's actually a well-known marker of depression. So you want that cortisol, almost stressed out, kind of, the day's beginning, I have a lot to do feeling. That's a healthy thing. You want that happening early in the day. The sunlight will wake you up. And what's really cool is that over time, you'll start to notice the sunlight waking you up more and more. The system becomes tuned up. If you miss a day, it's not the end of the world because it's as we call it, slow integrating system, but don't miss more than one day. And if you live in an area where it's very cloudy outside, just know that the sunlight, the photons coming through that cloud cover are brighter than your brightest indoor lights. Now, if you live in a very dark region of the world, or it's unsafe or purely impractical to get outside in the morning, then it might make sense to get a sunrise simulator or one of these lights, but they tend to be very expensive. What I recommend people use instead is just a ring light, a ring blue light. This is a case where you can blast your system. So get that morning light. It sets a number of things in motion, such as your melatonin rhythm to happen 16 hours later to help you fall asleep. I would say this is the fundamental step of any good morning. And if you don't do this enough, you are messing yourself up in a number of ways. Your liver has a clock, your heart cells have a clock, every skin cell has a clock. And for those that are not incentivized enough by the cortisol stuff and all the other things, actually the replenishment of stem cells in the skin, hair, and nails is activated by the system. So hair grows more readily, skin turns over, and nails grow more quickly because you have stem cells, literally cells that release more cells that become new hair cells, or new skin cells, and new cells that make up the nails. So skin, hair, and nails also benefit, and it has to be light exposure to the eyes. When we talk about all these things like the gut and the skin, etc., it's tempting to say, oh, it's sunlight on the skin. No, it's actually only can be signaled through the eyes because the clock lives deep in the brain, that master clock, and you need the signal to get to that master clock.
Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you if you let them. When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. They're not helping you at all.
Why does discipline equal freedom?
Because the more discipline you have in your life, the more freedom you will end up with. So if you lack the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up being a slave to disease. If you lack the discipline to work hard, save your money, you will end up a slave to finances. If you lack the discipline to manage your time correctly, you will end up with no free time. If you have self-discipline, if you have the discipline to save your money and work hard and invest your money properly, if you have the discipline to manage your time correctly and not waste a bunch of time, if you have the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up with freedom. If you want freedom in your life, you have to have discipline. Because if you're a kid right now and you're eating Doritos off your belly, I know they taste good and there's some immediate gratification, and I get that. But I'm gonna tell you, it starts right now. Throw that bag of Doritos away. Get rid of it. Go do some push-ups. Go spend $12 at the hardware store and hang up a pull-up bar in your room and start doing pull-ups. And if you can't do one pull-up, hang on that bar. And you're gonna start to get a little bit stronger. You're gonna start to get a little bit healthier. You're gonna start to get more focused. You're gonna start to become more resilient. And you're gonna start to understand the world better. And you're gonna start to progress in every aspect of your life. And you'll see that if you have that kind of discipline right now, you're gonna end up with freedom. Because you're sad, now you're gonna make a bunch of bad decisions because you're sad. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You're sad, okay. You get emotional sometimes, okay. Got it. Now, get control of your emotions and carry on with your life. And sometimes you're gonna get hit with those waves, and that's okay. No, at a certain point, you say, okay, my emotions are now leading me down the wrong path. I'm in control. I'm not gonna allow my emotions to make my decisions. They're in the calculus. I'm not saying take your emotions out of the calculus, but they have to be one component of your calculus, not the whole equation. You can't pull them out of there or they'll bite you, but you can't make them the overwhelming denominator of everything that you do, or it's gonna be problematic. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. And that's gonna be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen. I had to condition people to take action, even in the SEAL teams. Even a young SEAL leader who you would think would be by nature aggressive and an action taker, you put them in a pressure situation where there's not a ton of information and they need to make a decision, they don't want to act either. So one of the things that I would teach was that their default mode was to be aggressive. Their default mode was to take action. I would teach that. Same thing we just discussed. I wouldn't say, hey, look, that means you have to take action, but your default setting should be, I'm gonna do something. Because I'd have a young SEAL officer and there'd be some training mission and there'd be a problem in a building and there'd be a bunch of paintball flying around in there, and he wouldn't want to go solve that problem. He'd back away from that problem. And I would have to go like push him in the back and say, you see that problem over there, you gotta go solve that problem. It's not gonna go away. You gotta be aggressive. That's gotta be your default mode, is to take action and make things happen. Because most human instinct is to wait. Most human instinct is to hesitate. Most human instinct is to let things go longer and stick with the status quo, and that seems to be on the front, the lowest risk in the situation is to not do anything. It usually appears to be the lowest risk. So to train people to, oh, I need to take risk, some level of risk, take action, because in the long run, I say 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 times, action is better than inaction.
If someone was on the extreme end of that disease of excuse and blame and all of those things, is there anything that you could do or you would advise them to do to kind of walk back from there, to get over the other side? Because I think we can all think of people in our lives, and maybe even ourselves at times, who have gotten into a chronic pattern of using excuses and blame as a form of self-defense.
Well, unfortunately, what happens a lot, and you may or may not have seen this, but I would assume you've seen this at some point in your life, people, and this is a term, there's a term, it's rock bottom, right? This is a term that we hear for someone that's addicted, someone that's an alcoholic, someone that's physically let themselves go, someone that's put themselves into a situation with their finances or their work or whatever, where they reach rock bottom. But when the excuses all go away and people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, and it hurts, but is also unbelievably empowering, because if these problems are because of me, then I'm capable of fixing these problems. So even though extreme ownership hurts and is painful, it's also liberating, because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny, and that is a glorious thing.
Are excuses the opposite? Excuses and blame, is that the opposite of extreme ownership?
That is the opposite of extreme ownership. Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, this failed, didn't accomplish this, and it's not the fault of my boss, it's not the fault of my girlfriend, it's not the fault of my parents, it's not the fault of the weather, it's my fault. And I'm gonna take ownership of it, and I'm gonna fix it. That's what extreme ownership is. And this is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts. Because when you look around at your life, and you look around at your job and your financial situation and your relationship and your physical health, and when you look at all those things and all the problems that you may have with those things, and you say, the reason I have all those problems is because of me, that can hurt, that can sting. And a lot of times our ego rejects that and makes excuses and lies. And then we don't have to change anything. And then nothing changes. What you learn to do is, okay, I'm gonna go forward. I can't get out of this. I'm gonna go forward. I'm not gonna quit, so I'm gonna go forward. Bring it on. If I'm in the woods, which is where you are right now, you're in the woods and you don't know where to go because the wife's not there anymore, the job's not there anymore, you don't know where to go right now. So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. What you learn to do is, okay, I'm gonna go forward. I can't get out of this. I'm gonna go forward. I'm not gonna quit, so I'm gonna go forward. Bring it on. And I think if there's anything that you learn, it's to keep pushing through things that suck.
Can you teach that? Let's go. We're gonna jump back in the water, let's go.
I think that's one of the few things that you learn in basic SEAL training is to shrug your shoulders and go forward. This is just something that's gonna suck and you're gonna have to push through it.
I'm telling you, a lot of you have not made your dreams become a reality because you're scared of the boogeyman. A lot of people are saying, E, I'm scared. What if I do it and I fail? E, I'm scared, E. E, I want to do it. I'm gifted. I'm talented. I know I can write that song. I know I can write a book. I know I can get that degree, but I'm scared. There's greatness in you. And you mean to tell me you're never going to reach your full potential? You mean to tell me you're never going to be what you've been called to be? That you're not going to do what you've been called to do because you are afraid? Listen to me. The boogeyman ain't real. You can have it, but it's going to be a fight. And if you're willing to put up the fight, I'm telling you, at the end of the fight is going to come victory. If you're going to win the fight of your life, you can't be afraid to fight. So I'm telling you, in life, you start running from a class, you start running from a subject that you don't like, it will haunt you for the rest of your natural life. It ain't going nowhere. But if you go after the fight, if you approach the challenge, you have a much better chance of winning. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago when he walked out on you. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. And I'm telling some of y'all, you need to get more engaged. Listen to me. You need to get more engaged. You need to get more immersed into it. And if you do all around good, if you could just spend enough time in good, I'm telling you, great is right there. There are certain things you will never accomplish, certain things you'll never have, certain things you'll never be able to do, certain things you'll never see with just thinking deeply. That's the beginning. But you gotta have heart, because sometimes you'll get hurt and you gotta be able to bounce back. You gotta be resilient. Sometimes you're gonna face obstacles. You might pass the test on the 4th try, not the 1st, not the 2nd, not the 3rd. And you gotta have the ability to get back up. Not only do you get back up and brush it off, you act like you ain't never failed in the first place. Are you hearing me? You can have it, you can be it, you can do it. But you gotta accept the challenge. Some of you need to stop listening to motivational speaking and you need to become one. You need to stop being inspired and you need to start inspiring. I don't know who you are, but you know you fiend out. You watched enough videos. No more video ain't gonna do nothing for you. Action is gonna do something for you now. So I need you to say, I'm giving you permission to get your power back. This is not, I'm giving it to you. Somebody took it from you, your mom, dad, I don't know. Somebody said something to you in the wrong way and you took that and you shouldn't have taken it. I'm giving you permission now to fly, to take control. This is your year. This is the year to do something you've never done before. This is your year to think in a way you've never thought before. This is your year to accomplish what you've never accomplished before. I knew going through a PhD program was gonna be challenging because my reading level is not, where everybody else. I knew it, but I already knew I could speak. I was already a good speaker. I already knew that was a strength. And because it was a strength, I said, I'm gonna go to my weakness. And if I can take my weakness and make my weakness into a strength, then I'll take it to a whole nother level, baby. I used the pain to push me to greatness. And I'm telling you right now, don't give up. I'm telling you right now, don't give in. Get through it. If you can work through your pain, I'm guaranteeing you on the other side is a reward. You're going to go after it. You're not gonna wait for the fight to come to you no more. You're going to go after it, right? I'm telling you, when you're going through pain, I know what you're feeling. I know exactly, because I've been there, I've done that, but you gotta work through it. And if you work through your pain, on the other side is a reward. Listen to me, pain ain't permanent. Your pain ain't permanent. You can get through this. You're bigger than your pain. You're better than that. I'm trying to get you to have an understanding that pain is your friend. That pain is gonna take you to the next level. So the only way I can do it is I gotta keep it 100. You gotta work for it. You gotta breathe it. You gotta sleep it. You gotta eat it. You gotta put forth 120%. What I will not do is I will not quit. And so I'm saying to somebody right now that's watching me, baby, you got greatness all inside of you. You got greatness all inside of you. But your problem is you are a scaredy cat. You soft. And every time it get hard, you quit and you give up. And I'm telling you, if you would be willing to fight your way through it, if you would be willing to fight your way through this battle, fight your way through that academic struggle, fight your way through divorce, fight your way through it. If you are willing to fight your way through that singing career, fight your way through boxing, fight your way through football. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And so my season finale is you gotta fight your way through it. You gotta fight the fear, because guess what? Fear ain't bigger than you. You've gotten this far. If you was gonna quit, you should have quit a long time ago. You got too far. You've come too far to quit now. You've come too far. I told you before, you need to get a reward for it. It's past possible, meaning that there's nothing you can't do, that the odds are for you and not against you. So you go get that PhD, so you go get that master's, so you go back to school. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm telling you? It's past possible, meaning that all you gotta do is start, because if it's past possible, as soon as you start, you know you're gonna set records. You know you're gonna take it to the next level. You know what's gonna be that you're going to do what's never been done before. I dare you to try to get to success without excellence. I dare you to try to shortcut success. I dare you to try to shortchange success. It's not going to happen. There are no shortcuts to success. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You can't go over it. The only way you can get to it is through it. And so you got to embody excellence. Every single day has to be excellent. Every single day you wake up, you got to give it all you got. You got it 120%. Don't fool yourself into thinking that this year is going to be better than last year if you still making excuses. There are no excuses. There are no good reasons. But I guarantee you, if you can outlast pain, if you can get through that pain, if you can get through that discomfort, all right? If you can outlast that discomfort, I guarantee you, baby, on the other side of it is success. Remember what your boy told you, all right? If you're gonna be in pain, get something out of it. We're not gonna look at pain as something negative. We're gonna look at it as something positive. The pain is about to take us pain. We about to go through a little pain, and then we're gonna have a whole bunch of victory. You hear what I'm saying? So change your mindset. Change how you see pain. I want you to welcome it. You heard me say it before. How comfortable can you be with being uncomfortable?
Discipline is the single most important thing that you can use when it comes to being successful.
They want an easier answer. There has to be an easier way. There's not. I'm sorry. I searched for it my entire life.
Motivation is fleeting. No one wakes up motivated every single day. The key to success that you're looking for, the thing that's going to make your dreams come true, is simple discipline. Every person needs to be their own hero. You need to be the hero of your own story. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to help you.
And so I would copy the comic books and the heroes, and they had muscles, and I was like, one day I'm gonna be like that.
You have to suffer a little bit. You have to put yourself in a state of discomfort. Growth shouldn't be easy. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking to make things a breeze.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance.
You've got to learn to suffer. You've got to put yourself in a bit of an uncomfortable position. And if you can do that, then the results that have eluded you, you'll start to see them. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no magic pill. And there are no 3 easy payments of $9.99. If you want something, if you want to be good at something, you want to accomplish something, you've got to put in the time.
Because without that work ethic, greatness cannot be achieved. So you've got to really love what you're doing. You have to just go at it wholeheartedly. You've got to put everything into it. You've got to obsess over it.
If you want to be good at something, you've got to do it every day. Like we look at people like LeBron James. Why is he good at basketball? Because he does it every day. You look at Wayne Gretzky in hockey, because he did it every day. And so my number one piece of advice to people, if you want to be good at something, whatever that thing that you desire is, whatever your passion is, do it every single day. That's the real secret to success.
From 22 to 34, I worked every day. I went out, no weekends, I worked every day, every day. And if you want it, you want it. I wanted it.
So this idea of doing something every single day, just do the thing every day and be 100% present. Focus on the process. Don't focus on the end result. Again, if you show up, if you're all in and do that day after day after day, rewards will come. Don't let your emotions control your actions, or don't let your feelings control your actions. Rather, let your actions control your feelings. And so, it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be sad. But don't act bad. Don't act depressed. Don't act sad. Do something about it.
Failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that, but it's these few moments in life that you have. Like for me, I always talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. Mm-hmm. That one clip, when I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to be. And it wasn't a guy that won. It wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up after being knocked down.
On those days where you don't want to get out of bed, get out of bed. Go for a walk. Nourish yourself. Do some exercise. Spend some time in the sun. And it's amazing how those negative feelings turn around. So again, don't let your feelings dictate your actions. Let your actions dictate your feelings. When we're young, we think things are just going to fall into our lap. We think opportunities are going to be there forever. We think that it's going to be our turn. But the reality is, you need to work hard for it, and you need to work hard for a really, really long time.
When I realized that I can learn through hard work, and I can beat the valedictorian in school, but I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy that valedictorian studied for an hour, and you know I caught you, and I am dumb. But I have the work ethic to catch you. Having the discipline every day to say, for me to learn this one math problem, it's gonna take me 10 hours.
Wow. So don't lose faith. Don't get down on yourself. Don't get depressed. Don't get sad. If you show up, if you be the hardest worker in the room, and you do it for long enough, and I'm not talking even months or years, I'm talking decades, I promise you that your time will come. The second rule, be all in. When you're here, when you're in a physical space, when you're working out, I don't want your eyes on the TV. I don't want you text messaging. I don't want you playing on social media. I want you to be 100% present. I want you to be all in and get the most out of your time.
Where I got my work ethic from was the hours I had to spend learning this.
I always tell people there's 168 hours in a week. If you get 8 hours sleep a night, well, there's 50 plus hours gone. You still have 110, 112 hours left. If you work 60 hours a week, you still have 55 hours left to go do what's important to you. So I don't really buy the time excuse, but that's the number one excuse that I hear. The number two excuse is I don't know how. But we're fortunate, like people rip on social media, but we're fortunate to live in a day and age where with the click of a button, you have access to a wealth of information. Whatever it is you're interested in, it doesn't matter. You can find some good quality information with the click of a button. So the whole I don't know how, that's not an excuse either. And those are the two most common ones. What it really comes down to is people just don't want it bad enough. Because I've seen countless examples of people that will say they don't have time, that say they don't know how, but when something becomes important enough for them, they figure it out.
Because at the end of it all, if you can sit back and wait, if you can wait 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years, when you get to that point when you finish, that's the feeling for 12 years. Let's say wait 12 years to get there. That's what keeps you going, is you gotta feel, I'm doing it for 1 second.
Years of pain.
For 1 second.
Every minute matters. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. 10 minutes is better than 5 minutes. 15 minutes is better than 10 minutes, and so on. And so every bit of work that you can do will get you closer to your goal. Don't give up. If you want something, if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to put in an honest effort, if you're willing to show up every day and you're willing to be all in, I promise you again, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, it might not even be next year, but I promise you 100% your time will come and good things will happen. And far too many of us give up before we see the reward. We give up too early. And if we just had a little bit of perseverance, if we just worked a little bit harder and just took it a day at a time, our dreams would come true. So that would be my advice. Don't give up.
I don't know what the hell you should do with your life. I can help you figure it out, maybe. We can talk about it, but you are the person who has to decide if the things that you're aiming for, get you out of bed in the morning. And then you got to specify the transformation processes and start practicing them. And you have to understand that you're going to be bad at it, but it doesn't matter because bad's fine. Persistent is what you need to be. If you persist, with tiny improvements, if you persist, you win. It's direction that produces primary positive emotion. And so, if you need positive emotion to move through life, which you do, because you can't even move without positive emotion, and also positive emotion is a good bulwark against terror and pain. If you need those things, then you need direction, you need a goal, you need a value structure. You let all that nonsense burn away. And you might say, well, I don't know what I should leave behind. And the answer to that is, that's a lie. All you have to do is ask yourself. You'll come up with a list instantly of 100 stupid things that you're doing that you know you could stop doing. Take on the consequences of error and learn from it. And then you win constantly, because even if something goes sideways, you think, there's something to be derived from this. When you're in the world and something objects to you, something that matters objects to you, then in the entire unrealized world is in that thing that objects. It's all tangled up inside it. That's why it's the great dragon of chaos. It's everything that's outside of your conceptual structure. And what is that? It's everything that lurks outside of your walled city. And it's manifested itself like the snake in the garden. And the easiest thing to do is say, I'm not having anything to do with that. But the problem with that is, well, you get your C- and you don't do anything about it. Maybe you're a little bitter and more resentful, and your study habits get a little worse. So the next time you get like a D+, and then you collect a bunch of Fs, and then you stop going to school, and then you stop showering, right? Then you end up jumping off the bridge. And so that's how the dragon eats you when you don't pay attention to it. And so it's no bloody wonder that people avoid, you know. It's really no wonder that they avoid, because error messages contain within them the implicit world. Now, the upside of that is, well, they contain within them the implicit world. And the world isn't all negative. And so maybe you get your C-, and that's actually the best gift you ever got, because somebody finally took you and went, whack, you know, clue in. And so you take that apart and you think, oh, I don't know how to write. I don't know how to think. I've never read anything in my life. My study habits are abysmal, you know, like maybe I'm working at 2% efficiency, which is probably, I would suspect that, I bet there's 30 to 50% of the people in the room are working at 2% efficiency. It's like, to find that out is so optimistic. I mean, if you're barely hanging in there, but you're only working at 2%, you might imagine what you could have as a life if you're working at like 50%. So the C- can be the best gift you ever had, and that's the gold that the dragon hoards, right? That's exactly what that means. That doesn't prove that you're stupid. Now, it implies that you might be stupid, but it doesn't, right, really, it does, and that's why you don't want to look at it. Maybe it implies that you're lazy, or implies that you're ignorant, or like it implies all sorts of terrible. It might imply that you're a bad person even, but you don't want to leap to that, and that's sort of the proclamation of innocence before guilt. You are the thing that is, and you're the thing that becomes, and you should put the thing that becomes at a higher place than the thing that is. That means you also have to allow yourself to shake off those things about you that you might be pathologically attached to, habits and people, for that matter, ways of thinking, all of those things. You have to allow yourself to shake those off, and that's more like a burning. That's why the phoenix is the symbol that it is, right? It's old and it deteriorates, it bursts into flame, and then it's reborn. It's like, well, do you want to be reborn? It's like, well, that's not the question. The question is, do you want to burst into flame? And the answer to that generally is no, but that's the wrong answer. The right answer is, you let all that nonsense burn away. And so then you look at the micro routines. It's okay, well, I got a C- in this course. Maybe I should study for that course 15 minutes more a day for the next 3 months. And then you ask yourself, do you think you could do that? No, I'm too useless. Okay, how about 15 minutes every second day? You think you could do that? You put it in your schedule, like 15 minutes every second day in the morning. And that's, well, you think, well, what's wrong with me? Well, I'm not very good at managing my study schedule. That's not quite down here at the behavioral level, but it's pretty close, because what you can take an action. You can open up your schedule and you can say, well, I'll mark 15 minutes aside. Then you can practice doing that. It's pretty low level in the hierarchy. It means, well, you're still not a horrible person. You just got to polish up your work ethic. It's like, shut the hell up most of the time. But now and then, You don't shut up because it's time to say something. You don't want to make unnecessary enemies, though. Well, you don't want to take yourself apart any more than is absolutely necessary. Develop some of the micro routines on the other side of the personality distribution. So if you're disagreeable as hell, maybe you could start learning how to do nice things for people. And that actually works, by the way. So if you take disagreeable people who are depressed and you get them doing nice things for other people, their depression tends to lift. But then by the same token, if you're agreeable, then you should practice doing some things for yourself and being more tough-minded in your negotiation. You know, you're extroverted. It's like, okay, man, learn to spend some time with yourself, right? You're low in openness. Well, try reading a book that's outside of your sphere of interest now and then. If you're conscientious, well, you should probably learn how to relax occasionally and so forth. So you can, I think partly what you're doing as you're developing your personality is not moving the mean much, the average, where you're located, but you're extending the standard deviation so that you're a bigger bag of tricks than you were before. Life has got its rat's nest of miseries, and that's for sure. And maybe you could even make a categorical statement that life is mostly a rat's nest of misery. You know, and you can make a pretty powerful argument for that. But then there's a counter question, which is, well, what if you tried not to make it any more miserable than it had to be, right? Then what would it be like? I would suspect that most of that misery would go away, because it's the unnecessary misery that really brings you down. You know, it's like, well, if someone has cancer, it's like, that sucks. But it's not like you can say, if only we had done this differently, then that wouldn't have happened. But when someone's out like torturing you in a malevolent way, or maybe you're doing the same, you can always ask yourself, well, is this really necessary? Is this just like a useless add-on to the miseries of life? That's what disheartens people. And so even in your own life, if you aren't suffering from self-imposed misery, and you're only suffering from inescapable misery, maybe you could handle that, and even maybe without becoming irredeemably corrupt. And so the goal would be, well, yeah, life is a rat's nest of miseries, and maybe it has no ultimate meaning. We could say that if we're feeling particularly pessimistic, but it still leaves one question open, which is, if you didn't do everything you could to make it worse, how good could you make it be? And the least answer is, well, it could be tragedy, but maybe not hell.
We all have those moments when we want to quit, when we want to throw in a towel, where we don't see the end game and the target is not clear. And we want to travel down the road of least resistance, because it's in our nature to be attracted to what is convenient, what is familiar, what is ordinary. But if you're listening to me, then you're already walking in a competitive advantage, because you have a hunger and you have a desire to listen to something that's going to personally develop you and get you to a place that you've never been. And so if you can hear my voice, it's time to stretch. It's time to press. It's your time, it's your turn to reach higher, to leap farther, to run faster, to try again.
I need you to bottle that up, because it's that feeling right there that's going to move you when you don't feel like moving. It's that feeling right there that's gonna get you up when you don't feel like getting up. I need you to do yourself a huge favor and adopt the mindset that you are going to get 1% better each and every day. And don't stop until you're proud of yourself. And don't stop until your mama is proud of you. And don't stop until your daddy is proud of you. And don't stop until your professor is proud of you. And everybody in their family is proud of you.
Someday, at some point in your life, you're gonna be able to look back and say, man, I'm so glad I didn't quit.
1% better every day. Let 1% turn into 2%, 2% turn into 3%, 4% turn into 5%, 5% turn into 10%, 10% turn into 20%, and you keep going and going and going, and let that compound, and watch. You will have a billionaire's mindset. You will live like others can't live. You'll be able to do what others can't do.
Somebody somewhere believes in you, even if they're not close to you. Somebody is rooting for you to keep going. Somebody is hoping that you don't quit. They are believing that you will be the difference maker, the game changer in your family. You don't have what it takes. There is more left in your tank. Your future is worth fighting for. The moves that you are making are going to impact the lives of so many people that are depending on you to continue. So you got this. You can't quit.
We think the results are the thing that needs to change, but it's actually the process behind the results. Like, what is the difference between eating a burger and fries for lunch or eating a salad? Not a whole lot on any given day. Your body looks basically the same in the mirror. The scale hasn't really changed. It's really easy to dismiss it in your mind and say, oh, this is kind of insignificant. But, you know, you turn around 2 or 5 or 10 years later and you realize, oh wow, those daily choices really did add up. It's just much harder to see on a granular basis. The cost of your good habits is in the present, and the cost of your bad habits is in the future. And the fact that we prioritize the present over the future ends up making a lot of habit change difficult for that reason.
Maybe you can make an adjustment. Sometimes we got to make adjustments. Sometimes we need to rest, recover, and recharge so we can try again.
Success isn't overnight. It's when every day you get just a little bit better than you were the day before. I promise. No. I guarantee. All of the wins add up. And that adds up to you living the life of your dreams. That adds up to you arriving at your desired destination of next level greatness.
Keep striving. We've got to get into this pace of grace where we are pacing ourselves and we're honoring our journey and we're honoring the people that have been planted in our lives. We're taking a scrupulous investigative approach to our friends and our places and our acquaintances and our associates and our collaborations and everything that we're listening to and everywhere we are going and what we are building. And let me tell you something you already know. There are enough people who have not believed in you. There are enough people who have walked away from you. There are enough people who told you you don't have what it takes, you don't measure up, you will not finish. Don't be the weapon that is formed against you. There are enough people that are counting you out. There are enough people that are saying you can't finish. Do not join them. It doesn't matter how broken, how weary and devastated you are right now. That pain will not last forever. At some point, it will subside. And when it does, discipline, resilience, fire, passion, power will take its place. So keep going because it's all worth it.
You are strong enough to shut down those negative voices each and every time they attack you. You are strong enough to shut down that negative thought process each and every time it attacks you. So the question is, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is, one bite at a time. So the question is, how do you win in your game of life? And the answer is 1% better each and every day. You just gotta keep compounding those wins to get busy living, while so many others made the choice to get busy giving up. That's exactly why they can't live up to your standards. You set your bar high, and if anybody wants to be on your level, you don't reach down and grab them. You make them climb up and meet you. Your mindset is elevation. Your mindset is graduation. Your mindset is high plateau. Your mindset is next level living. And that means you're giving every ounce of your soul 1% better each and every day.
So don't make a decision today that you will regret in a year or two. Don't be fooled by the way things appear. The truth is that even when it feels like nothing is happening, the seeds that you've sown over the last few years are still working for you. All of the sacrifices that you made up until this point are not in vain. So this is not the time to focus on what you don't have, what you do have.
See, the victory mindset surrounds itself with good energy. and wins the daily personal battles and never lets itself become its own worst enemy. Sometimes it's us that stops us from going to the next level. Sometimes it's you that stops you from going to the next level. See, you get to choose. Because your mindset was set to refuse to lose. Your mindset was, I will win. Your mindset was 1% better each and every day. And don't stop until I'm proud. Don't stop until my family's proud. Don't stop until I'm generating generational wealth. Don't stop until everybody around me is winning. See, the resilient mindset never gives in or concedes. It makes the necessary adjustments and then executes the new plan until it succeeds. I just need you to celebrate the small wins along the way. Always strive to be better. Go all in every day and be better than you were yesterday. And if that's your mission, if that's your mindset, if that's your mantra, you can't help but dominate each and every day of your life. I get it. There will be moments when the spirit ain't moving you. There will be moments when the spirit ain't lifting you. There will be moments when you simply don't feel like doing what you know you need to do. But that's when you rewind this back and go back about 3 minutes ago. Because you got something bottled up. Because you've done this before. And I need you to open that top on that bottle and pop that pill of greatness and do it anyway.
I know you're tired. I know you're ready to quit. I know what it feels like to be exasperated and so beat down that you can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel anymore. And if it showed up, you would ignore it. I know what that feels like. But if you get blessed to see another day, then you better scorch the earth with that beautiful light. It is in our nature to be very disempowering, pessimistic, negative people. I need you to wake up in this new day, in this moment, and seize the opportunity. You are alive for a reason in the end. If you're going to be fully persuaded about anything, persuade yourself to keep going. And the more that you influence you will influence the world. So keep going until you have won some small victory for humanity.
The lifestyle you want is within reach. You just have to commit to being committed. You've got to decide that nothing will stop you, not even your doubts or your fears. The discomfort is temporary, but the skills, the knowledge, and the habits that you are developing right now will continue to pay off.
You got a choice to make, my friend. Survival mode or thrival mode. It all starts with the mindset. It all starts with the grind set. It all starts with you just simply saying, I'm gonna be better than I was yesterday. It all starts with you simply saying 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. You keep counting each and every day and celebrate the small wins along the way. They wanna see you lose. I wanna see you win. What do you want, though?
If you have discipline, you will attain freedom. Train, study, work, practice. Train, study, work, practice. Train, study, work, practice. Standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen. Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you if you let them. When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. If you want freedom in your life, you have to have discipline. Start now. Go do something that's hard. Go try and accomplish something that's hard. You may win, you may lose, you may succeed, you may fail. I'll tell you what, you'll be better. If you don't accept that challenge, if you don't step up and step into that cold water, this is not a good move. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just get up, move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. Move towards that challenge and go attack it. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. What you learn to do is, okay, I'm gonna go forward, I'm not gonna quit, so I'm gonna go forward, bring it on. And I think if there's anything that you learn, it's to keep pushing through things that suck. So if you lack the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up being a slave to disease. If you lack the discipline to work hard, save your money, you will end up a slave to finances. If you lack the discipline to manage your time correctly, you will end up with no free time. If you have self-discipline, if you have the discipline to save your money and work hard and invest your money properly, if you have the discipline to manage your time correctly and not waste a bunch of time, if you have the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up with freedom.
You've got to be aggressive to make things happen. I mean, if you're not aggressive with things, they don't happen, they don't move. So you're always learning and growing, and I was always learning until the day I retired.
And people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, and it hurts, but is also unbelievably empowering, because if these problems are because of me, then I'm capable of fixing these problems. So even though extreme ownership hurts and is painful, it's also liberating, because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny, and that is a glorious thing. I'm not saying take your emotions out of the calculus, but they have to be one component of your calculus, not the whole equation. The equation has to include emotions, yes. Logic, yes. Future, yes. Goals, yes. Family, yes. Work, yes. Finances, yes. All those things have to be in the calculus. Emotions has to be a part of that calculus. You can't pull them out of there or they'll bite you. But you can't make them the overwhelming denominator of everything that you do, or it's going to be problematic. Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, this failed, didn't accomplish this, and it's not the fault of my boss, it's not the fault of my girlfriend, it's not the fault of my parents, it's not the fault of the weather, it's my fault. And I'm gonna take ownership of it and I'm gonna fix it. That's what extreme ownership is. And this is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts. Because when you look around at your life and you look around at your job and your financial situation and your relationship and your physical health, and when you look at all those things and all the problems that you may have with those things, and you say, the reason I have all those problems is because of me, that can hurt, that can sting. And a lot of times our ego rejects that and makes excuses and lies. And then we don't have to change anything. And then nothing changes. So again, I would love to be able to, give you this profound anchor that people need to have. But it's like, oh, do you want to do this or not? Which is what I think a lot of it boils down to. Do you actually want to do this or not? Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up. Just about any obstacle that gets in your way becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path.
If I want to have influence over you, what do I have to do? I actually have to allow you to influence me. How do I get you to trust me? I have to put trust in you. One of the worst situations you can be in is when you think that the little moves that you're making, no one can see them. And it's so obvious to everybody else. Everybody else that's watching can see exactly what you're doing. You think, oh, they can't see the maneuvers that I'm making to take care of myself. No, they see, everybody sees, and it ends up destroying you. I have to open my mind up and allow you to influence me. If I just stick with my own ideas, you close your mind as well. If I have a closed mind, you're gonna close my mind. If I want you to care about me, what do I have to do? I have to care about you. And by the way, in my opinion, these are the components of a relationship. Right?
Yes, definitely.
If we listen to each other, if we don't listen to each other, we don't have a relationship.
Yeah.
If we don't respect each other, we don't have a relationship. If we're not influenced by each other, we don't have a relationship. So if we don't care about each other, obviously we don't have a relationship. So when you want to build a relationship, what do you have to do? You have to listen to the other person. By the way, this applies to your employees. It applies to your kids. It applies to your spouse. It applies to everyone. If you want them to listen to you, you have to listen to them. And you can't just, I'll stop talking as I prepare my counter for what you're saying right now. It's like, I'm literally gonna listen to what you have to say and try and open up my mind and open up my perspective so that I understand your world as well as I possibly can. I'm gonna integrate that into what my thoughts are, and we're gonna come to an understanding. We're gonna move forward with a better solution. So the idea of barking orders, the military or any organization can be run through authoritarian dictatorship. Look, you can make it work for a little while, but it's not a long-term solution, and that's what you gotta watch out for.